Hello, welcome to Backstage at Bug. This is Firebug's new podcast where we're interviewing musicians who all have a Leicester connection. My name is Courtney Askey, and in this second episode I am speaking to the amazing The People Assembly. The People Assembly joined us backstage at Firebug in our green room to eat curly fries and talk all about their songwriting process, their current plans, their live shows, and generally just go through their sound in a way that is so hilarious and entertaining and fascinating to find out about how this super unique band makes music. Since recording this episode, the People Assembly have released the amazing single Trojan Staffy, so please do check that out. It's on Spotify, Bandcamp, and all the rest. Please do keep an eye on the band's social media to find out about their upcoming live shows. I would really recommend checking this band out. They put on shows are really incredible, super unique and chaotic, but in a really fun and inclusive way. At the beginning of filming this series, we thought it would be fun to link in the Firebug food menu with band names or band songs and try and come up with some interesting puns. So each time I approached somebody to film one of these episodes, we came up with some kind of themed food or drink that would be a centerpiece to the episode. So in this episode, the People Assembly have curly fries, and in fact they came up with so many puns that there's just a whole segment of the episode dedicated to it. So yeah, keep listening to find out what they are. As I mentioned at the beginning of episode 1, each episode does vary in visual and audio quality because we were kind of working out how this was going to work, and everything was filmed in a different way. And as you can probably tell if you're watching this interview, the microphone doesn't actually work. There was a problem with the audio recording that day. But hopefully that won't spoil your enjoyment, because it's a really brilliant episode. It's so funny. These guys are so entertaining, and really great to hear about their processes and all the amazing things that they do to get to the sound that they have. Is super entertaining and insightful and inspiring. So yeah, please enjoy this episode. Check them out. Have a listen to their music, and I hope you enjoy.
Hello.
Hey.
Grand time.
What we got?
We've got 2 veg chili, curly fries.
I'll grab the thing, and then everyone can grab them. So
Yeah, no worries.
there's chilies, and then we need to explain the food, the food one, and then we will continue the story.
Here he is.
Hello.
Hello.
Did you not replace me just yet, Mila?
Oh. There we go.
Oh. Great, I brought crackers.
We could fit all 3 of us on just a
Yeah, do you want to middle it, Ryan, or do you want to edge it?
Surely you want to be
So no chili and curly fries, everyone's beans. Mine's the beans. Beans? Oh yeah. That should be everything, right? So we're gonna think?
I think you did, that's great.
Shades or no shades? I got my
Shades.
Shades, absolutely shades.
Did we pick struts and frites?
Struts and frites.
There were a few options for the fry related.
Watch People Fries was good. It's a bit of an obscure reference.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I
A very
don't
obscure
know.
band, so that's the thing.
So watch People Fries.
Yeah.
Fries is replacing assembly.
Dies.
Okay, so no.
Yeah, that's a deep cut. Only the real heads know. It's a song we performed 3 times.
The other fry related, we have curly fries by the way, for anybody who isn't watching. The other fry related pun was your song French.
Yeah.
French, of course. Actually, I think we just made that one up.
French fries.
We've got various to choose from. And what was the first one you said?
Struts and frites. We need to know a bit of French for that. Topical.
Really?
Why? That's French for fry. What?
Is it?
French for chip.
No.
What's the song?
Struts and frets.
It's a Shakespeare reference for anyone that doesn't know.
Who knows? Yeah. Big up the bard. Am I right?
Massively underrated, I find.
Yeah.
Could you continue the story
Yes.
about your bad gig in Sheffield, please?
I'll start. I might as well start it again.
Yeah, go on.
Without the name of the venue this time.
Yes. Redacted.
We were talking to someone about doing a gig in Sheffield, so we turn up in Sheffield on the day after talking to presumably the same person on their Facebook account.
Fake Facebook account.
And we turned up and they said, "Are you playing tonight?" And we said, "Well, we would have thought you would have known that." But we go downstairs and find that the venue manager is just some guy who works upstairs. He said, "I'm not going to be here tonight, so you just sort yourselves out." Usually people bring their own stuff, because they told us to bring a backline, which to most people means, you bring a drum kit, you bring an amp, all your amps. But what they didn't tell us is the backline means everything, including microphones, including a sound tech.
Because a PA system.
Yeah. The PA was there, but it was just plugged in and there was nothing to plug into it. So it was like, right, okay, what do we have? We managed to rummage around in some cupboards and find a couple mics. I took one of the PA speakers off because we just needed one extra XLR cable so we could have a microphone. And we managed to get by with a kick, a snare, and a microphone. And that, we've never sound teched in our lives. It's probably sounded pretty naff.
The person doing it.
But luckily, in the room of about 11 people, 2 of them were from Sheffield.
No, there was more.
And the other 9, yeah, but they were all from Leicester. Every single person who came to that gig, except for the 2 randos who walked in off the street, was from Leicester.
3
including
randos.
Simon, who just heard that we were playing in Sheffield and was like, "I'm going to go see that." So he took 2 days off of whatever to go and visit his sister and then come and see us play at some random dive in Sheffield. Redacted in Sheffield. So it wasn't even useful for us because it was just the same people who see us in Leicester, but 100 miles away.
It's nice that they came though.
It is nice that they came there. The fact that they came is very good. But what a gig.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alex Hemley who went absolutely.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Alex Emily,
ballistic when
who
we
really
played
loved it playing Hot Hot and got the train from Liverpool for one day. He came and saw us and then went straight back to Liverpool after the set was done because they're insane. They got a Uber back for like 80 quid.
Wow.
It was a £60 bolt actually.
I'd love to hear more gig stories. Anybody have any particularly memorable?
Moth Brothers, yeah.
One good one is we played The Shed when we were really, really young. And it was like just a normal sort of show. There must have been 30, 40 people in attendance. There was nothing
Was it the
much
upstairs
going on. The upstairs one. And
The bin.
The bin. I think I might know what you're about to say. And I wasn't even there.
Yeah, it became a bit infamous. We sacrificed Rowan's bin, which Rowan didn't like.
Well, I don't think we threw it into the audience.
Which you would normally think, oh, that's quite the antic. All right, Iggy Pop, that'll be enough chaos for tonight.
Yeah.
But they kicked the shit out of it and broke it into like tiny pieces.
They were hitting it over each other's heads. And
Pieces of. So you ended up
Multiple
with a
people
venue covered in tiny shards of what is essentially shrapnel. They were kind of throwing these shards at each other and putting the shards, on each other's heads. There was a lot of blood everywhere. And we came out of the show and we were unloading outside, and this guy came out with almost like a Jesus-like crown of blood. And he went, "That show was amazing. Thank you so much." And I went, "Please go to hospital." And he was like, No, it's all right. I'm only bleeding.
I can't believe that. So the bin. Firstly, I have so many questions. Firstly, the bin was made of metal.
Metal.
And they ripped it
It's like
apart.
an incinerator.
And they just ripped it apart with their hands.
With their hands.
Just kick the shit out of it.
They actually just dogpiled on it and tore it apart. So
They smashed it.
That's
Absolutely.
mad.
It was louder than the band.
I'd love to know what you were playing that just made people go feral.
Possibly Hot Hot, which was the last song we played for a while.
I still have the bin actually.
Oh, the bit. How much is left?
Actually, all of it. It's just really flat now.
We gave fragments to our producer for making our album.
Oh yeah. I gave Mr. Am I allowed to name him?
I don't know if can you call him?
Just
call him
make a
Seamus
name up.
Wong.
Call him out.
Why wouldn't you be able to?
I don't know.
It sounds like
Because he's odd.
Okay, right.
Because he's odd.
I don't think I even know
Odd
his
man.
He put his email on the back of the album.
We did do that. Shout out anybody who's
I just love like the biggest cut hair, just like the most obtuse cut you've got.
So yeah, we gave bits of that in as a gift. Rowan did with his name on it. So there's somewhere in that studio there's just a hunk of broken metal with our name on it.
So we've spoken about live shows and chaos. I'd love to know, like, because your live shows are pretty incredible, and I've definitely...
They are, to be fair.
They are, yeah. And I definitely haven't seen many, if any, other people doing it like that. It is impressive. It's a spectacle in its own way. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what like performing live means for you all, and like, you know, how it got to the point that it did, and like, you know, did it just happen, or did we just sit together and be like, let's cause chaos? Like, you know, how did it go?
I can't give the answer we gave on Kev again, which was just we make really good music and we really like it, and that's it.
Yeah, I think the key is that is it's simplified, but it's true. I think you just have to really like what you do, and to a horrible narcissistic way, you have to think it's the best thing in the world. And once you think that, I think you're so into it yourself that other people kind of can't help but follow suit. You become a charismatic evil leader.
Bollocks. I thought you said it's bollocks.
But the live show just tends to be a compilation of jokes that have been running for so long that even we don't know where they've come from anymore. We've recently been playing the national anthem really well
At the same
and
time. Different
in different time signatures. Basically, it's just a long series of in-jokes. None of us really know where it comes from. It's like so many in-jokes within in-jokes that it's completely incomprehensible.
From what I have gathered, like from seeing you throughout however many years of like knowing you, the in-jokes are. It's apparent that you are all in on it, and the audience just has to work out what's what's not.
It's not really our business whether we like it or not.
I'm trying to let them decide if they think we're in on it or if we're actually like scrapping. Because I remember like the first time it properly happened. I think Jake threw Joel just like over my drum kit at the cookie, and it took out like, half my kit. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And I didn't know if they were scrapping or if it was just like a standard event.
I think it's that I think of a lot of other bands in Leicester that that play live shows, and they're really competent bands that do a good job, and it's not quite. I don't know why we're so energetic on stage. There isn't really a reason.
We're not energetic people.
It's not. We're not energetic people.
I disagree entirely.
Is it just that we're all a bit mad? Is that the best explanation? I don't. Our music is particularly. Rah! Anyway.
I think it's just the nature of having like so many people on stage, because like, you know, if you actually
It's like a big rave.
and I mean it's definitely how I feel, because the stuff I'm doing is quite very, you know, only a little bit for every bit of song. I need to like, entertain myself in between the bit that I do. And I don't know if the string people and the drum people can relate, but
none of the guitar parts are even remotely complicated on my part, at least.
No.
so I think we just get antsy in waiting for our bit.
There's a kind of a scary gang feeling when you kind of like outnumber the audience, which is a pretty common occurrence at
At
our
least it
shows.
feels like it.
Don't sell us short.
But you kind of get into an attitude, I think, where you just end up being kind of so into what you're doing that you kind of forget about the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, if you're all in that headspace as well of being like, you know, you're really into it, and then you're seeing everyone else on stage that's into it, then you're all feeding off each other, and it's just like great.
It does do that.
Yeah, like when a nuclear reactor is.
I don't know if I can speak for everyone, but it is at least a little bit deliberate, though. That there is a feeling that there's a. You're not just if someone just wanted to listen to the music, they'd go and listen to it. If you're coming to a live show, you're coming to watch the band play it. So we could just stand there and reproduce the music exactly the same. But also that would be boring for us, and it would also be boring for the audience. At least I think a bit. So there is some part of it that's like people are watching, got to do something.
On a show,
And at the same time, if we wanted to reproduce our album, there's 168 layers on the last song, so I'd have to recruit a fair few layers before we got around to that.
If we all lock in like in the first song, it's normally because everyone knows the song back and front, so we kind of don't need to practice a lot of the time to do the set anyway. And like if you all lock in, it's normally just like everyone can chill out and just do what they want. But if something goes wrong or like something throws everyone off, it
kills the whole thing.
Yeah, we've still not learned how to deal with any failure on stage, apart from like ritual suicide.
I mean, I think I could attest to that because at our last gig we played, we had to use a standing drummer who's shout out to Ethan from Dumb Language, one of the best drummers that is around in Leicester. But like, I didn't have that connect that I do with Andrew. Like every single time I've played with him for so long that I can just lock in immediately, rather than when it's someone else. It's just it's you need to wait.
We'd love to talk about your sound specifically, and I would like to hear from everyone individually about influence. Although I think influence is not like, oh, I'm influenced by this person, therefore my music's going to sound like them. It's not like that. It's something way broader. But I'd love to hear about your songwriting process and how like each one of you contributes and in your own way and what happens at the start with you.
We have quite a different process now than what we had when we were writing the album. A lot of those tracks were kind of songs that we brought in by other people, Joel usually. And then, yeah, that's why I said me or Joel. And then we brought those in and worked on them as a group and turned them into completely different things usually. And that process works really well for some things and not so much for others. Now we've got kind of more of a collaborative writing process where kind of just make a horrible sound and see what everyone else does to react to it. And then we've also still got stuff now where we bring in things from outside. So it's a mix and match between songs that have already been made and are kind of the bones are there, and songs that are completely just from scratch in a rehearsal room.
So the songs where you say you bring something in, one for either one of you, what does that consist of? Like, so
it's usually like a just bare bones parts usually. So it'll be like, say a song structure or something like that, and an idea for where something could go or where dynamics sit in a song, and then after that you're kind of free to reign, you know. And there's loads of stuff where we're quite good at picking up at things. So if you see a bit in a song that seems like it shouldn't fit or whatever, we tend to do that for longer and do the thing that doesn't work and play it so often that it sounds like it should work, or it's so played that it just becomes annoying, and like that. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. I mean, just working out creases and trying to work out how to make them worse usually.
Obviously, if you two are going in with that kind of like bare bone structure, and obviously there's other things as well, how does that impact your involvement when you get there? How do you approach it when you hear something new?
Family lawyer.
Well, I think very much when I go in from, I'll write the bass lines, especially with the new stuff we've written, I'll do the bass lines, but other than that, you know, if we're doing it live or something, I'll basically dial in my tone, but then Jake will come along and go, no, that's wrong, and then have a little fuck about with my tone knobs and see what's going on, which I appreciate very much actually, because I can't dial in a tone to save my life.
It's like a Charles Manson kind of victim there or something.
That says
oh,
more
it's
about,
fine, and then he came along and told me it wasn't fine.
That says more about you than it does about me.
No, usually I just kind of wait for the song to be kind of done, and usually my keyboard parts are just kind of given to me on a platter. So I go, okay, yeah.
And you just go, how can I fuck this with a DS?
Yeah. Admittedly, the live thing's a different one. If now if there's a song we're playing, there's no keyboard bit, I just kind of go ham on. Well, I just have like a set of like monologues I recorded in my bedroom, and I'm kind of just play that in the mix.
I need to talk about this way more with you, right? For anybody who isn't familiar with the People Assembly live shows, you have a kind of specific presence, I think, amongst the mix of everyone. And I remember the last time I watched you, my absolute favourite point of the show. It was a really great show, actually. I really loved that show. You were all so good that day. It was at Duffy's. My favourite point was like halfway through, or like towards the end of the set, I looked round and you were at the back holding a DS and there was something happening. I don't know what it was, but I just had the time
I believe on that
watching
day,
it.
was it not saying "I'm inside your mind" or something similar to that?
Probably best to not like confirm or deny what I said. It is a certain monologue I play if it's strips and frets, but there's also in the sound editing app. There's like some little sound effects I can put on there, and I think that day it was record scratches. So,
Like the Beastie Boys.
yeah. I think it worked.
So can you edit sounds on it for a start?
Yeah.
There's like an app for it.
He can do everything.
Yeah, so it's a 3DS, to be honest. I mean, I think it
To be
was.
so specific.
I think it was brought in the DSi, but the 3DS version's the one that's kind of where it's at, because you can upload recordings from like an SD card and access it from there. So a large portion of the stuff that I play via sample is like recorded via like Audacity, and then I'm just kind of. I think it's usually just compressed into a really crappy MP3 and then played through the little app that's built into the 3DS.
Into effects.
Yeah, the 3DS is then plugged into my keyboard, like the mic output, which is then plugged into via the output, this micro Korg that I have. So yeah, it's kind of quite crusty in a quite a nice way. So that's why it'll be echoing.
It's usually played at about plus 40 dB over everything else that's being played, and I'll be in the middle of a song and just over my monitor I'll suddenly hear like, I don't know, like an England football chant horribly loud and distorted.
I've got let's see, greatest hits. I've got a Kendrick Lamar quote. That's
What does it say?
Yeah, it's in I when the guy goes, "This is a world premiere." I did a version of that, but I'd actually got the echoes as well because he says, "This is a world. And whenever we play a new song, I sneak it in there. In fact, there's a version of Leicester City Council on YouTube where it's perfectly timed. It's amazing. Can never be recaptured.
There's a version of Leicester City Council.
Yes.
What's
That's a song.
a song?
Yeah.
We call it a song.
Right.
We've been playing unreleased songs for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
We've not played. We released an album and then proceeded to play no songs off it. And we've now got an entirely new set, and now we're sacking off all of those for new songs as well.
Big
I
up
guess-
Bognor Regis Birdman.
Yeah.
Making that up.
That's not the name of the song.
It's Birdman.
It's called Hello Butlins.
Oh, sorry. Hello, Bognor Regis Butlins.
Yeah.
Where did Birdman come from?
Bognor Regis, there's a competition in Bognor
Yeah.
Regis called the Bognor International Birdman, and the idea is that you just type off a thing in Bognor Regis dressed as a bird and try not to die.
Oh. That's what the song's about.
I loved hearing that. I really did.
I loved hearing that.
I can go into more.
Please. You've already hinted today at the fact that you play a bin, which nobody's even reacted to because it's dead normal for you guys. But actually, that was a point in time. The bin's obviously dead now.
Yeah, I think the bin era has kind of
Bin
ended.
era is dead.
Yeah.
What else has there been?
We got compared to Slipknot, and then we were like, oh yeah, I didn't really think of that, and then we're like, oh, fuck the bin.
I've been dying. I was like, I can't replace it. It's over. And plus, like, it kind of just became more and more awkward for me to carry a bin around. It was like you play like Nottingham, you can't like really put a bin in the car.
It was so inconvenient. It was so massively inconvenient.
It was kind of worth it for Soundman's reactions, usually,
Yeah.
though. Like, because if you brought a bin on, it'd always be this guy just going like, "What's that?" And you go, "Oh, that's my bin. Can you put a microphone in?" No, absolutely not.
When I watched Einstein and Newburton, they played a bunch of
Yeah,
objects.
like electrical source.
Yeah.
Imagine
a
that
trolley.
rider.
Yeah, right,
It's
exactly.
like,
It was like, dude, I was the whole time I was watching them, they had like a shopping trolley and like bags of like laundry and shit, and I'm like, do they like put that on a plane and take it with
they
them,
have
or
to.
do they
They
get
surely do.
specific
Flight
sounds?
case.
Well, I have heard a story
Yeah.
about them requisitioning stuff for a show at DMU that I heard through a Soundman friend, where they were kind of going through the industrial estates outside of Braunston and picking up random bits of kit, like pieces of sheet metal,
Yeah.
which was just, amazing. But we would never be able to do that because we're not resourceful enough and we're too awkward to ask people for things.
We don't have that
I
grind
could
set.
probably make it, I just can't ask.
the more recent songs we've written were sort of what if ideas of maybe we can make a song that's a drum and bass song, and it doesn't turn out sounding like a drum and bass song, but that's kind of fine because it's a launching off point. We all have a sort of general idea of where we need to go, and we all sort of move towards it, whatever the hell it's going to end up being. And that's what we did with Leicester City Council, is what it's called, which we've been playing the first song in our sets, Leicester City Council, quite regularly. The last other two were similar sort of things where we just sort of played for a while. Usually, I mean, I don't know if it was Battleship specifically, but at least the most recent song we've been working on was just playing continuously for about 15 or so minutes, just seeing what sounds good. And if it sounds good, then keep it, and that's usually how it goes.
That's how most of our songs come about.
Yeah.
If you're not working off a structure, you kind of just play in like a krautrock rhythm for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Just
see what happens.
Especially when there's 6 members of the band, especially when there's specifically 3 different guitars, you can't afford to have each guitarist playing their own melody. So a lot of the time we try, or at least we're doing this with a song we're currently writing, where we're being really, really abstract and sort of minimal with what the guitars are actually doing. So it builds this big sound that's like a homogeneous thing, as opposed to 3 guitars playing melodies or whatever. And it's quite percussive, and I don't know, it has a lot of potential, I think. I'm really excited to finish it.
Remember it.
There you go. Well, we'll figure it out again.
Well, have to.
When I watched you at Wide Eyed, I was mind blown when you exited the venue holding
Oh yeah.
an instrument that you
That
made.
one, it used to be a guitar that had a fidget spinner attached to it.
Where?
Fidget spinners.
Over
Just
the
over the
pickup.
Just over the pickups,
Right.
ripped the neck off and put fidget spinners over it. And you used to kind of spin it, and it made this really annoying helicopter sound that you could distort, and it would just kind of blow away everything else on stage. And it was great. It kind of sounded like you've just added Mersbo into the mix or something at the end. But we replaced that because the pickups fell out. So we dropped the pickups back inside the guitar and filled it with nails and then taped it over and used it as the world's most horrible tambourine for a while. And it worked really well until me and Kai decided to play dodgeball with it at our show.
Sliding around the
Sliding it around the stage.
Yeah.
And at some point, the connectors that held the pickups in broke off and sprayed nails all over the stage.
We're not forgetting my ankles from that.
Oh yeah, I broke Lewis's ankles.
Both of them.
Yeah, only one. Only one. Yeah. I'll let you off the other one.
Yeah, you got two, man. The good Lord.
I got 2. The Lord provides.
Yeah, any more instruments that you've constructed? Was that I failed to? I can't be the only one. There's
God.
got to have been
Why
more.
Death Stack?
There was a time where I bought a Fisher-Price kids keyboard, and with the absolute most bare bones knowledge on how to solder, you can take the speaker off and put an input, like a guitar jack input, which then means you can plug a kid's instrument into a pedal board and an amp. I don't know if we've used it much in gigs.
I've used it quite a bit.
He's used it a bit, but it also makes frog and sheep and cow noises and pig noises.
Yeah.
And when they go
cow
through the
ones are
pedals,
the
it's bad to hear.
I will go around to
Really awful to hear.
Do you mean
and-
good to hear?
No,
No, it's terrible. It's a
no,
really
don't
bad
be
sound.
good. But bad is good. We make bad sound good, and that's put
And
that
that's
in the-
brilliant.
That's the title. Andrew has a. You can talk about, what do you call it?
Death Stack.
Death Stack.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
it's just like a load of symbols that I can basically fold in half on my hands.
Yeah.
And it's just they were broken up and like sliced up and stuff. Like if we were stone it, it probably would kill you, kind of like jagged edges.
It's really sharp.
It is very
It's
sharp,
really
yeah.
sharp.
And if you just stack them all up and put the biggest wing that you can possibly on it to hold it down, it makes a really awful like noise. And it's really good as a
Sounds like
replacement for a
bones
percussion
breaking.
also.
It's quite horrible.
Yeah.
Like bones
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we have any other cool instruments. We're really boring,
I
aren't
mean,
we?
they're pretty good though.
Yeah.
The paper
The
jams.
paper.
Oh, I've been waiting the whole time for someone to talk about the paper jams.
I didn't want to. Yeah, I didn't want to say, but yeah.
Do you want to big yourself up?
Yeah, I've had
course you
enough.
did.
When I was talking about the 3DS, I've taken too much limelight for everyone else. Yeah, so I was gifted a. Where do we start with the paper jams? Basically, it's like a
origin story.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was because I've got this point. I've kind of got a bit of a reputation where people will just give me horrible stuff to put in. So I was given by my good friend Marco this like flat toy guitar. They were like sold as like something you'd use to learn guitar, but they're really, really awful. It's like a flat bit of plastic that you will strum, and it will make vague guitar noises. But if you have, for some reason my one has like a pitch bender on it, so I can like go full on like Clapton.
Yeah,
Why did I say Clapton?
like Van Halen, dive bombing.
I think your video on YouTube is the hippie guy from the People Assembly goes full Neil Young on a paper jams.
Neil Young, yeah, that's it, yeah. That's totally it, yeah. But
It's like two-dimensional, basically.
I can't quite understand what it is.
Bit of paper.
So it's a
Literally
toy.
paper
And like, when you touch it, it kind of...
makes the sound.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like those kids
Bizarre.
fake instruments. You know, you
Yeah,
like touch them and they just kind of make a noise.
Yeah.
It's like a flat guitar with nothing on it.
Yeah.
You just kind of
Pretend to play it and it
pretend
makes
to play
noise.
it.
Yeah,
It
if
makes
you- if
If
noise.
it has frets, you can theoretically play a tune on it.
well, I mean the thing is it has a chord mode and a note mode, but the thing is each fret is just one sound.
Yeah.
So you can vaguely look like you're playing guitar.
You do rip a fat solo on it.
Yeah.
Do you rip a fat solo?
Yeah, what I learned is that the note version has all these weird... It goes weirdly deep for what it is. So it can do like hammer-ons, and you can also slide the note, but it will do it in a weird clippy way.
Yeah.
And it's just this... And you can while you're moving your fingers up and down the fretboard, you can pitch bend that as well. So basically there's just... I couldn't really put it into words, but it's been done.
The aim is to make all the blues dads that live here just like internally convulse within themselves and destroy themselves on stage. People come up to us always and go, "Oh, that would have been really good if you know how to use a guitar properly."
But the Radio 6 dads love it.
Yeah, the Radio 6 dads are like, "Oh my god, it's just like Idols." Everyone knew that was fake at that show,
Yeah.
apart from one guy who came up to us afterwards, who was a professor of musicology. He went, "I love that guitar solo that your guy did on that Les Paul guitar." And I was like, "That's a piece of paper."
Now I want to know what it looks like. Because it's a piece of paper and I'm like, it's like a photograph of a guitar.
Yeah,
it's a
flat piece of plastic
Like a cutout.
with a little bit
Yeah.
of touch sensory stuff and a picture of a guitar on the front.
I knew I should have brought it, but I didn't want to be that guy. Sorry, I'm late.
It's a guy that no one knows because it's the guy who brings a paper jams guitar to an interview.
To be fair,
Can you just walk off at the end of sets and go get a drink? He normally records this from like the back of the head. And puts on the like, page like, oh, look at this shit band.
That has become a speciality. I've tried to run to the back of venues, get a video of it, shout something abusive, write a hate page, and then
I'm
send
starting
that
to
off.
realise every interview we do where we describe what our music is, I realise we are the only thing separating us from being literally just a joke band is that our music's great.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, we would be just a joke band. I mean, just like Spinal Tap, but not successful.
I think you've said a few interviews, Joel, just brilliant calls.
Brilliant. It's the genre.
Which is great.
That's the genre. I don't think we know what we're doing.
We know exactly what
I should have gone to you.
brilliant.
I know what we're doing is brilliant, I just don't know what it is.
I want to hear more about like what you've got planned coming up for the next year.
Things.
Things coming soon.
Big things.
Well, I mean,
At least one song.
we've still got 2 songs to release. That's
We've had the singles recorded for like a year, and then we will be recording new music in Wales.
What was the accent?
We'll be driving to Wales, home of England.
Wales, the home of England.
Well, the home of England.
In
Why
the
did
centre
he
of
say
Scotland.
that?
England is my city.
Which country are we going to?
And we'll be going to Wales, and we're going to be recording loads of new music. Loads of it will be
Loads.
really, really
Yeah.
Are we?
300 songs.
Oh!
It will be a quadruple LP,
Yeah.
so an album themed exclusively around Matty Healy, and that was brilliant.
We're gonna kiss a lot of fans.
Yeah.
Oh no. We're going to try to go to Wales, and we will record at least one song. That's all.
Well, we better record more than one.
What we can say is we want to release a single. We have two. We want to release one of them. That might happen
very soon.
Yeah.
That might happen very soon. Might. We will definitely be playing some gigs. One of them is at the end of the month, but that might not be. I don't know when this is coming out.
Probably after the end of the month.
So you're not going to see that.
If you do see it, we were great at Beat the Streets.
Yeah. When you're watching this, you missed out because you didn't know it was happening yet. But we were brilliant.
It was.
We were so good at it.
Could you repeat that?
Do you remember when
please?
that thing happened though? You beat the streets. Oh,
Yeah.
no. What?
We beat the streets.
Oh, we beat him.
It was like Queen of Life.
But then remember when they all got on the stage and everyone was like, "What's going on?"
So we're going to play loads of music alongside loads of post-punk bands that probably don't like us very much.
Yeah.
We're planning to make it to Kingston upon Thames.
We're going to be in
Well,
Hull.
we're going to do the
We're going to
Butlin
go
tour.
to the deep in Hull. We're going to not play at the deep, but we're going to go to the
under
deep.
wraps.
Oh, okay,
It's
sorry.
the largest indoor tank of any aquarium in the UK.
In
Actually.
Hull?
You got
Yeah.
the largest indoor
The
tank
deep.
of any.
No, I don't because I'm not Hull. Hull has one, and we're going to go early so we get to go to the aquarium before the gig.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the plan.
So,
and my
plans for
granddad's
the
going
new
to be there. Rock on.
Recording in Wales. Releasing 2 singles.
2 singles.
Going to the aquarium.
Oh,
Going to the aquarium in Hull. Hopefully making it to Bognor Regis Butlin about May.
Way, Bognor Butlins.
Yeah, and we're going to play. The idea is we're going to play on the roof like the shittest version of the Beatles ever.
Bognor Beatles.
It's all definitely absolutely going to happen.
PTSO telling us to stop.
We're doing that. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
All of the things that we said are absolutely going to happen
What I'm
exactly when we said.
About now is that you said there would be 3 gigs and 2 singles, and then you started talking about standing on a roof and bumping. Now I'm so confused.
We're confused as well. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We don't really know what we're going to do.
The
But
Butlins tour.
The Butlins tour's under wraps at the minute. We need to make.
All of this.
Butlin's copyrighted.
Butlins TM. We're playing a Butlins TM trademark from Bognor Regis.
We got the Skylink
unless
tour
they don't let us,
Skylink tour.
we're not going to
No,
play.
no, we're
The
not.
Skylink tour as well.
Yeah.
Good one.
Leicester and Nottingham.
I've been doing that tour for the past decade.
Oh, please let us play in other cities.
Get me out of this house.
Give him some silence. Give him some room.
Please.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That was it. Really dissolved into chaos at the end of that show.
I really.
Best joke in the world. Best joke.
Oh, man.